Good afternoon. It is Sunday, August 18th, 2013. This is John Lair speaking. Here's what's happening. I tuned into the Jets last night in their preseason game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which they did end up winning by a close but lopsided score of 37-13. The team shut down the Jaguars entirely in the second half, giving up no points, and despite the score. There's a lot to be said about this. First of all, the defense did not look. I mean, I'm looking at the starting defense here. All the starters played roughly about a half yesterday. Next week will be the big one when the starters see most of the action, or they usually see 2.5 to 3/4, and that's going to be against the Giants. If I'm not mistaken, that is a Jets away game, technically. Anyway, no. But last night at MetLife Stadium, the Jets did win. But my disappointment really came in the starting defense. When you get shredded by Blaine Gabbert, you know you're having a bad night. I mean, really. I mean, the first one, I'm looking at this after the offense, Sanchez, efficiently boom, 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 perfectly led the offense down the field for the touchdown on the opening drive of the game. It culminated with Cumberland and a 23-yard touchdown, perfect pass. Beating the safety, who fell down and Cumberland was wide open. After that, the defense. You're thinking, all right, nice little spark there. You feel good. The offense just went down the field, boom, boom, boom. But the defense, I mean, we're supposed to be this well-touted defense, and you're looking at this and you're like, what the heck is this? You see Blaine Gabbert, you're like, really? Like the Jet defense should eat this guy up and chew him and spit him out. Very first play, the defense facing Gabbert. Gabbert finds whoever it was for a 37-yard reception. And you're like, okay, fine, pure luck, whatever. And then boom, 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 4-4 down the field. The Jaguar offense, Maurice Jones-Drew, you name it, they're like eating up the Jet defense. And you're like, are you kidding me? I mean, Blaine Gabbert, for the part that he played, and even into Chad Henne, I mean, they ate the Jet starting defense. And you're like, are you kidding me? I mean, the only one of the Jet defense who looked, decent was Muhammad Wilkerson. And, we have, a lot of high hopes for Wilkerson. But, I mean, the rest of the Jet defense was like, where are you? I mean, even Cromartie, who's supposed to be the next Revis in the secondary with Revis not here. I mean, the Jaguars, I mean, often Gabbert would feed the short pass, but either the Jets would miss tackles or Jacksonville just like totally broke free. I mean, granted they did only have the one touchdown there on their opening drive of the game, but I mean, the way they were just getting downfield, easy, easy, easy. They actually led the game at halftime, 13-10. So you're like, Jesus Lord, the Jet, like, what is this? This is. I mean, it's a crummy quarterback. So I mean, if you want to, destroy Sanchez, look at Gabbert. But Gabbert, looked like, I mean, like I said, I mean, the Jaguar offense, weren't they like the second worst a year ago? I mean, jeez. But then, after Sanchez led that drive, he led a couple of really decent drives, and things where, I mean, obviously the Jet fan is going to get on Sanchez for every little bad thing he does. I mean, last night, he's going to be seen for the critical interception he threw late in the second half. Late in the second quarter, where I mean, the Jets are marching down the field, Bilal Powell and getting a couple of decent passes, and then the Jets are on the 3-yard line, goal to go, and then Sanchez once again did his wonderful thing he did all of last year and get picked off in the red zone. I mean, my goodness. I mean, he undercut, he tried to get a guy cutting in, and Marcus Trufant. And I'm like, Marcus Trufant, when did he leave Seattle? Marcus Trufant picked it off, and it was like, great, lovely. And you're like, and of course he heard it from the fans, and it's like, are you kidding me, Sanchez? Really? They actually did a Bronx cheer on him. I believe it was earlier in that drive where Sanchez is getting harassed by the defensive line, and he had no choice. He actually threw it into the ground. near alignment, so as not to get called for intentional grounding. I mean, and the place cheered. They're like, "Yay!" Like it's better to throw an incompletion, obviously, than to be picked. So yeah, which is true. But I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Are you?" It's like, and I want this guy to start. I mean, obviously, Sanchez saw a lot of time yesterday because Geno Smith and Greg McElroy were not available due to injury. So after Sanchez was done, Matt Sims took over. And I mean, I watched this on DVR. I was at a party last night. So when I got home in the 11 o'clock hour or whatever it was, I turned on my DVR and saw it. But then I started falling asleep just before halftime. And I'm like, I tried it, I fought it, and then I was just like, no, I don't feel like seeing this anymore. But in the second half, midway through the second half when the starters were all pulled from the game, um, there was a drive there. The Jets did take the lead. They led 17-13. And then right after that, Jacksonville got the ball back, got an interception. The Jets intercepted a pass, and then Sanchez was still in the game and handed it off that entire drive, culminating in a touchdown. Khalil Bell had a couple of touchdown runs last night. And then, like I said, it was 24-13 by that point, and eventually 30. Like I said, I was falling asleep, and then after a while, I was just thinking, I don't feel like watching this anymore, and I turned it off and went to bed. But and I looked it up, and I was like, oh, they won 37-13. Okay, whatever. So, but like I said though, if it were down to the starters, honestly, I really think the Jaguars outdid the Jets yesterday. Like I said, Gabbert was efficiently leading the offense of the Jaguars down the field. Like I said, it may have been only one touchdown and two field goals, but Blaine Gabbert looked like genius. It's like Blaine Gabbert. I mean, geez, defense. I mean, the defense obviously did not come ready to play. I don't know if it's a miss of DeVito and Pauha. I don't know if the Jaguars have just improved the offense, or the Jets defense just simply had an off night, or what it was. But the Jaguars offense had their way with the Jet defense. And they went into half. I mean, like I said, they went into halftime with the lead. They were up 13-10. So, pardon me, again, it makes you wonder. Are the Jets going to be ready in a more quality team next week against the Giants? Is that also a Saturday night game? I believe it's also Saturday. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, it's the Jaguars. Just because the Jaguars look good for one night don't mean nothing. But, still, it's just, the receivers, on the offense, even though, there were times where receivers were open and couldn't get. Sanchez was efficiently finding his receivers for what it worth. Curley had a couple of nice catches. Stephen Hill had a nice grab early. Even Braylon Edwards, who really, he didn't see any action until this. I think it was either late second quarter, early third quarter. He caught a nice little 19-yard pass. But the Jets were trying to also ground and pound the ball. Bilal Powell had a nice little 37-yard run. Easily kick out block and by Willie Colon and took off easily. I mean, wow. But all else, it was mainly Ivory and Powell. Ivory is, a guy who will move the legs. He will keep the legs going. And, yeah. It's just, it's the whole dreadlocks thing. I'm like, with those longer dreadlocks, you're asking to get, your hair pulled down. But whatever. I mean, there's high hopes for Chris Ivory. And, barring any injuries, hopefully, he can stay healthy. I mean, he didn't get to play last week. But still. But of course, continued panic over Sanchez, especially the red zone interception, which is understood. But, mistakes happen. In a 16-game season, mistakes like that are going to happen. And, you know how it flows. I mean, any quarterback can make those mistakes. But still, the heavy scrutiny, Sanchez is going to be held to every mistake he makes by the Jet fans. So, anyway. Like I said, I don't have much more else to say. I mean, I'm still going on 10 minutes, but whatever. Anyway, this is Ryan Later speaking. Peace for now.